Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I want to first start by thanking the organizers of this symposium for their meticulous communication and also their gracious invitation to be part of this very exciting UKZN e-learning symposium. So I'm Professor Gopal, teaching in the discipline of Criminology and Forensic Studies, but with a strong education background. So the title for our presentation today is Using Online Debates as an Analytical Tool to Understand How Students Co-Produce Knowledge. So the emergence, as we all know, of COVID-19 brought about numerous changes in different countries, including our own. And of course, with it came major restrictions on physical contact leading to stay-home measures. Prior to the lockdown, in terms of the higher education institutions, students used traditional learning. However, they had to now adjust to online platforms to avoid disruption of the 2020 academic calendar, because that was the time in which we were transiting onto an online platform. So since the beginning of online learning, teachers had been encouraged to adopt appropriate teaching methods to carry out online education in various ways. At the same time, however, there were concerns about the quality of online education, and we have these particular researchers who had claimed this at least 2 decades before the majority of the world went on to online teaching. So, of course, we also all understand and have experienced online challenges, including students being isolated, difficulty in staying motivated, and some students being left behind. Nonetheless, teachers had to adapt their face-to-face teaching methods to keep students engaged. One such method which we employed in our particular classroom was debating. Young and Rusley argue that the use of debate in classroom increases students' learning motivation and their interest in terms of the subject matter. Schauer believes that the use of debates resonates with a constructive approach to teaching and learning, as it believes that learners construct knowledge rather than just passively take in information. Further, Hines says that according to constructivism, learners construct knowledge for themselves. Each learner individually constructs, meaning he or she learns while constructing the knowledge. So it is against this framework of constructing knowledge that debate pedagogy allows students to learn by fitting new information together with what they already know. It further allows students to contrast knowledge and fit information together. Research studies by Yang and Rusley, Kemp and Schneider say to us that, or they agree that the use of debate as a pedagogical tool also facilitates students' critical thinking and allows students to understand critical issues from different standpoints and perspectives. And this again speaks to not just their critical understanding, but it speaks to learner-centeredness in terms of classroom teaching and learning. So it's against this backdrop that this paper analyzes how students used online debates to co-produce knowledge. DeWitt and Hall described the following benefits of a classroom debate. It promotes rigorous critical thinking, it strengthens academic skills, it enhances mental and emotional maturity, improves academic performance, and enhances teamwork and collaboration skills. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and I look forward to a rigorous discussion later.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mkhize, and I will be presenting the second part of this presentation, which is the methodology as well as the findings of this study. Okay, in terms of the methodology, when we were using the debate, we used a qualitative research design in order to divide students into 20 groups, and each group consisted of either 25 or 24 students. Groups were randomly created given the high learner enrollment, which is 840 students. So in these 20 groups, 10 topics were given to students. Each group, two groups had one topic, and in which one had to argue and be affirmative, and while the other is arguing against the notion. So each group had 20 minutes to present their case. While they were presenting and debating, fellow students shared their thoughts via the chat. They shared their questions, their comments, as well as the thoughts and opinions in the chat. Now, the data for this study was generated from student views, which the comments, the questions that they had on the chat while other students were presenting. Students now managed to process independently in the absence of the teacher or the presence of the teacher, but they were able to process with the debate. Now, based on the findings of this data, there were 5 themes that were developed. One is critical construction of knowledge, debating decorum, peer encouragement, constructive feedback on the presentation, and bilingual encouragement. Now, in terms of critical encouragement, in terms of critical engagement with the content, students were able to now engage with the content while others were presenting in the chat. Students were also engaging by sharing their own opinions of the presentation, what they thought, what they have researched in terms of the topics, because the topics were presented to students prior to the debate, so everyone knew what the students were, what the topics were, so they were always ready for those topics. And Ganaslan maintains that effective teaching must be planned and conducted from a learner's point of view. So having such debate in class also encouraged students to have, to be encouraged to engage with the content, to have their voice in terms of the topics that they study, instead of just being passive learners and not engaging with what they have studied. One of the comments from the chat, because these were different topics, one of the topics, one of the chats, the student said, "I stand to disagree when Sitembile says Moses Sithole was influenced by his dysfunctional background because his 4 siblings were not involved in killings and rapings." So this shows that students were always ready to debate, to show their side of the comment or what they think about the content that is being presented by other students. Another theme that we developed is debating decorum. So with students encouraging each other, with the debate also encouraged students to be able to understand the rules and the etiquette of the debates or the classroom. They were able to tell each other or to be critical with each other, with the people that were debating and others that were also listening. Some of the comments from the chat were, "Please listen further into this argument. During the debate, we use straight points. You don't use words like 'I think.'" So this shows that the students are now aware of how they should engage with the content when it comes to debate. And another comment was, "In a debate, everyone is allowed to ask questions." So they are now teaching each other in terms of how they should behave when it comes to not only the debate, but when it comes to the classroom. So, and another comment was, take a deep breath, you got this. And these are such comments that students shared with each other in order to be aware of what has to be done. So debates in classrooms increases students' learning motivation and interest level on the subject matter. Another theme is peer encouragement. So students are also engaged in providing positive feedback, and thus encouraging their peers. So they understand they understand each other. They understand what happens when you have to debate. They will motivate each other. They would give positive feedback. For example, one student said, "I love the way you are unpacking your points, very structured and proper. Also the correlation of the topic of the points to the topic." Another student said, one of the best debate groups. Well done, guys. So proud of you. Another one said, well presented and researched. So now, during this process of feedback, students are given the opportunity, the debate gives students the opportunity to be able to engage, to argue, and to motivate each other and encourage each other. And also, in terms of peer feedback, another one of the comments was, the biological factors were discussed satisfactorily. All the other arguments were not well supported, hence lack of credibility. A lot more literature could have been encouraged to showcase throughout understanding of the motion at hand. So now the students are becoming more and more aware of how they should engage with the information that they have, or the topic that they have to present on. They are encouraged to get more literature to understand a particular topic. And the last theme that we developed in this was by the bilingual use of in the discussions. So in the debate encouraged students to be able to use their language. In the beginning of the lectures, students were also encouraged to be able to use their mother tongue if they feel that they can use it. So that encouraged students to also be able to use their own language. For example, one student said, "Lindani baqede ukukhuluma abanye abantwana," which means they should wait for other students to stop talking. That also goes back to the debates decorum, the etiquette of how the class should be, how it should be conducted. So the use of bilingual is highly encouraged at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, and in which students are now aware that they can use their own language, and they were encouraged to do so, and most students were able to participate. Now, debating formed a catalyst for increased students' encouragement and co-creation of knowledge. Also, students were vigilant of classroom rules and encouraged their peers in implementing the classroom or debate rules. Also, students were able to engage in both isiZulu and English, which made more students to feel comfortable and more comfortable to join the debates and share their own thoughts. So it is important. Using a debate is very important in terms of encouraging students to participate, and also allow students to construct knowledge in terms of what they have studied, what they know, and also engage with the content that they have to discuss. These are the references from the literature that we reviewed in terms of understanding how the debates work and how they should be used in the classroom. Thank you very much. My name is Mkhize.